The Honorable the Speaker.
Shall I now have the opportunity for silence prayers of meditation? Thank you very much. You may all be seated.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise in the office of the Specialized for the House to note one of our own in the province, Ms. Madzivhandila from Ramona, has made Limpopo province proud, especially young girls in the Vhembe communities, and has shown that big dreams can be achieved through hard work. She has won a 2022 South African Music Award in the category for the Best Traditional Song for the title track on her album Vhembe District. The award ceremony was held in Sun City last Sunday on Sunday 28 August, and Ms. Madzivhandila has once again shown that the province is extremely blessed to possess a multitude of talented people.
Any second?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am Shakadza. I second the motion as read by Honorable Parliament.
Any motion without notice?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise on behalf of the African National Congress the motion of government. Honorable Speaker, we received the saddening news of a gang rape incident that took place at the mortuary premises in the area outside the walk of Muhuyu. According to reports, a group of 4 blood-touching criminals abused the premises of the mortuary in the early hours of Sunday, and arrested staff members who were busy finalizing their preparations to go home. Those hoodlums went into this facility with the intention of robbing and stealing money. But on how did the event suddenly turn into a raping spree of 5 innocent women by 4 heartless men is mind-boggling. But this reportedly did not end there, because we hear that as the police were busy with the investigation, it was also discovered that Honorable Speaker, happens as we conclude the Women's Month festivities, a colossal program that is meant to heighten the plight of women and discourage acts of patriarchy, gender-based violence, and genocide. But it looks like our message as government and organs of civil society keep falling on deaf ears. And our only hope in fighting this threat will be the police and the justice system. We are confident that the police will work to the best of their ability to find these hooligans to ensure that they meet the rest of the might of the law. I so move, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Any support? Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, thanks very much. Slamana Damani Capricorn is now Congress. I stand here to support the motion by the Honorable Collage.
Thank you very much. Any motions to pass notice?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on behalf of the GA for this House to note the passing of South Africa's top international model from Limpopo Province, Ms. Vhembe District, who was born and bred in Lambani village on the outskirts of Matiani and was buried on Saturday, the 3rd of September 2022. A modern career afforded her awards, endorsements alongside with achievements such as being a fashion TV ambassador and video ambassador, featuring the Genesis commercial and being cast in the movie District 9. Vhembe District has appeared in TV commercials, top fashion runway shows in Africa, Europe, and Asia, and she has also studied the law degree at the University of Ms. Hausmann acknowledged the role she played in positively representing our province, and she is an example of the amazing talent our province has to possess. May her soul rest in peace.
Any support?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I, Shakadza, hereby second the motion as read by Honorable Palmer.
Thank you. Motions to pass notice? Honorable Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the provincial leadership of the African National Congress in this province has in the past weeks embarked on a service delivery plan that placed much emphasis on basic services like roads and water provision. We welcome this endeavor, and we are encouraged that this process was able to detect gaps within our communities and will be able to make the necessary interventions to that effect. These sessions were held throughout the province, and we also had the Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, Comrade David Mansell, joining this engagement. This is a demonstration of our willingness as a leader of this government to constantly interface with the service delivery struggles that are faced by the majority of our people on the ground. We are encouraged by the spirit of consultation by the provincial leadership of the National Congress. We have also been made aware of some municipal councils who are able to spend on their conditional grants, and as the portfolio committee of the Department of Cooperative Government and Settlement and Traditional Affairs to ensure that this capacity is brought to a halt. I move accordingly.
Thank you. Any support?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I, Nwanedi, and second the motion as presented by Honorable Leader. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Any motion without notice? Honorable Sowan.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on behalf of the ANC to this August House to note and welcome the ring road which has been completed in the Municipality, a project which has been constructed to alleviate traffic congestion within the city. The road will go a long way in alleviating the unnecessary are hopeful that it will go a long way in alleviating congestion in the Muslims and will ease flow of traffic into the border gate. I so move, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Swan. Any someone? Honorable Silomena.
Honorable Speaker, thanks very much. The last time the applicant is now congress, I hear it's been 2 seconds of the motion by Honorable Swan.
Thank you. Are there any motions without notice in terms of House Rule 145? Any notices of motion in terms of House Rule 146? Any statement by members in terms of House Rule 200? Honorable Mfana.
Greetings, Speaker, Exco, all members in the House. Honorable Speaker, the EFF in Limpopo knows the disruption of teaching and learning at performance like a senior secondary school in Vhembe village following fainting spells among learners. Although the root cause for the incident remains unknown, it is alleged that the school's acting principal turned a blind eye on the issue and even instructed parents not to assist the affected learners on the 21st of August 2022 when the incident first took place. This led other learners to be unruly and started breaking the school property such as windows and chalkboards. The following day, the acting principal came to the school escorted by the police after he was informed that the parents are at the school and they were also angry about his conduct. The EFF has then been shocked that the acting principal then left with the police after the meeting and never set foot at the school to date. The second manager, including the SGB, have never taken any steps to address the challenges affecting schooling at the school. It is untoward and worrisome that the educators sought an intervention from the second office and the SGB, but their grievances were shunned away despite submitting a written complaint. To this day, attempts to resolve the problem by the educators were rejected, and we are equally concerned that schooling has been halted since the 22nd of August 2022. It is also to our surprise that the Department of Education says everything is well at that school when it is not. The EFF calls on the Department of Education to act with speed and resolve the issues affecting learning and teaching at the support secondary school. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mfana. Any member statement? None. Any response to the member statement? Honorable MC Bishop.
Honorable Speaker, in this uniform, there's been a terrible accident at more of 9 people from one family died, and then 2 are in hospital. So I ask from make their souls rest. Honorable Speaker, I think we've noted what Honorable Mkhala has said, and in terms of our mandate, we want to make sure that each and every child is an asset and will be able to get the quality education that they need. So we'll intervene as soon as possible to make sure that the trials examinations and also the coming grade 12 examinations are not disturbed and resolved as such. I will also pass the message to my colleague, MEC Dr. Namaka. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable MC. Thanks for the responses. Let's move to item 5. Are there any executive statements? None. Item 6.1. Table of the Municipal Finance Management Act, number 56 of 2003, in the year monitoring of section 71, subsection 7, reporting. NBC for provincial treasury.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, my colleagues in the Executive Council, members of this House. Madam Speaker, in terms of Section 7.1, subsection 7 of MFLA, the provincial treasurer must, within 30 days after the end of each quarter, make public as may be prescribed a consolidated statement in the prescribed format on the state of municipalities budget, per municipality, per municipal income. Madam Speaker, in line with the provision of the above-mentioned legislation, I hereby table the state of municipal finance report for the quarter ended 30 June 2022 for consideration by this August House. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. The report will be referred to the Portfolio Committee on Provincial Treasury for consideration and to report back to the House. Item 6.2. Tabling of the following Public Service Commission reports by the Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will hereby table the investigating reports by the Public Service Commission for the financial year 2020-2021 and 2021-2022 as they appear in the ATC. The reports are as follows. 1. Section 196.4 2021-2022. 2. Report on financial misconduct 2020-2021. These reports are tabled in terms of Section 196, subsection 4E of the Constitution 1996 for consideration by this House. I move accordingly.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. The tabled reports are referred to the Portfolio Committee on Public Administration for consideration and to report back to the House. Orders of the day. Consideration and adoption of the following reports of the Portfolio Committee on Health. Committee Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I, Madzivhandila, hereby present the 2021-2022 fourth quarter report for consideration and adoption by this House. Thank you.
Any seconder? Honorable Abdul.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. I am quite happy rise to second the motion as presented by the chairperson of the Collage.
Thank you. Committee Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I, Madzivhandila, hereby present the 2020-2021 annual report by the Department of Health for consideration and adoption by this August.
Thank you very much. Any seconder? Honorable Khala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the
Thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me start my debate with the word of wisdom from Martin Luther King Jr. when he said, I quote, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." Close quote. Madam Speaker, the committee noted with concern that the department is not spending its budget in line with this type. The underspending by the department during the fourth quarter was 94%. This is the quarter where we expect that services that were promised to the citizens of this province will have been delivered. The department overspent on other programs like emergency medical services and provincial hospital services. The spending on emergency medical services was exceeded by 106.9%, and on provincial hospital services was exceeded by 100.5%. The department should provide clarity to the House why there was an over-expenditure while on other programs there was an underspending. We have also noted that on healthcare support there was an underspending by 94.2%. The budget for this program was reduced from 707 million to 588 million. We had noted that 148 million was either shifted to other programs to surrender to Treasury. The department should explain why the funds were shifted to and which services were affected. We report to the House that the department was not consistent with the Public Finance Management Act in terms of its spending on most of its programs. We will work hard during our oversight to ensure that the department implements its projects in line with the approved annual performance plan. We received a report that 58 institutions have been developed credible asset register. However, we noted with concerns that the department usually reports that all institutions have a credible asset register. At the end of the audit, the department received material misstatements regarding asset register. The department should develop a uniform asset register to be used in all its institutions. We commend, Honorable Speaker, the work well done on the collection of revenue. The department collected revenue of 59.1 million in the fourth quarter from the 34.3 million collected during the third quarter of 2021-22. The department reported that the improvement was due to an engagement with the Road Accident Fund to settle finalized cases, which resulted in some payments received. We encourage the department to work hard on this matter. It is critical that the health of patients is prioritized by the department in areas where there is congestion in terms of residency and in rural areas. We noted that the target for ideal clinic was not met by the department. It was reported that only 21.8% of 45% plan was achieved. The explanation provided by the department was not satisfactory. That it was as a result of failure of non-negotiable vital elements due to the non-availability of some surgical and medical items. During the pre-oversight visits in clinics in April and May 2022, when some of the health practitioners were interviewed on ideal clinic status, they alleged that during assessment, facilities borrowed each other essential equipment to obtain an ideal assessment. The department should submit a report on the missing vital elements to improve ideal clinic outcomes. The department should also investigate why such exchange of hospital equipment took place, and if wrongdoing is found, consequence management should be instituted. The officials must be held accountable for such anomaly because they are making it difficult for the plans of the department to be achieved. For the financial year 2020-2021, we noted with dismay that 1,099 unresolved medical legal cases was a constant challenge which were incurred since 2014-2015 financial year. We have noted that during the financial year under review, claims had amounted to 939 billion. We noted further that the medical legal claims occurred mainly due to medical negligence in health facilities. The department should work hard to ensure that officials who abdicate their responsibility and put the lives of patients in danger, and also cause the department be held responsible. The department must also explore avenues if those litigations could not be solved amicably. We support the adoption of the 2021-2022 fourth quarter report and the 2020-2021 annual report. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings once more. Honorable Speaker, some of the reasons advanced by the department as to why it has spent its 2020-21 budget in all its 8 programs are ridiculous. It is criminal on the part of the department to underspend while our people are in dire need of services on a daily basis. It is worse underspending all its 8 programs because the impression created through this immoral contract is that our people have more than enough services and therefore they must slow down self-delivery. We are making an appeal to you today not to slow down self-delivery but to slow down corruptly the intention of its total elimination. If suppliers are not fulfilling their commitment on vehicles, laptops and other medical and allied equipment, why don't you terminate their contracts? Where are these suppliers? Are they still doing business with the state? If yes, why? This department complains about service providers for their failures to underspend on their programs as if they have no power to terminate their contracts if they don't deliver. But of course, it will be difficult to terminate such contracts if directors are ANC comrades who must create as genuine business women and men. Honorable Speaker, fruitless and wasteful expenditure to the amount of 500,000 must be taken during the 2020-21 financial year. Can we get a proper explanation why this happened? But we are not surprised because unwanted expenditure have long been normalized by this government. They are part of their legacy and system. What is the current status of bus and lodges in terms of functionality because the two systems seem not to operate as expected? We are being told that they are slow and sometimes unavailable. Is there no way of servicing this system through companies that install them? This is simple and elemental logic which the department fails to apply, but of course they are suffering from poverty of ideas. We can't really expect much from them. It is clear that this government can't stretch itself further in terms of thinking capacity. What the citizens get is all they can do and nothing more. Honorable Speaker, the department obtained qualified audit opinion which was requested from the unqualified audit opinion obtained in 2019-20. We should anticipate further regression to a disclaimer which will not be surprised about. Hospitals like Dovheni in Vhembe District continue to provide our people with the West services for more than 27 years since the attainment of democracy. Patients, mostly elderly, are subjected to long queues until they are turned back without being attended to. The attitude of nurses toward patients is disappointing to say the least. Patients are being insulted and ill-treated on a daily basis. The EFF is concerned about the continued shortage of vaccine and BCG syringes, especially for the immunization of children. Honorable Speaker, it is regrettable and unfortunate that the EMS is unable to respond to priority 1 calls within the 30-minute range in urban areas and 60-minute range in rural areas. the ambulances that we are being told about on annual basis that the department bought, what are they doing? Why is this problem recurring when ambulances are being bought every year as you pay? Mangweng and Polokwane are the only two tertiary hospitals in the province, and we are at the top of the list with contingent liabilities and medical cases. The money that should be addressing service delivery needs of the people is now addressing medical cases. We are worried because this will lead to children high mortality in the province, which is something we have the political power to prevent. The infrastructure of the hospital is dilapidated, reminding us of the novel by the Nigerian author Chinua Achebe called Things Fall Apart. Thank you so much. Very listening. Everything about this department is falling apart. Schools, hospitals, clinics, even their moral campus and conscience has fallen apart. There is nothing else of this government. They are finished to an extent that even some police can just blow them away. They are hanging in Christiana. I think.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, the Department of Health must urgently table an action plan on how they intend improving the audit outcomes, which the AG report has qualified in the 2020-2021 financial year. Whilst the health system in Limpopo is failing dismally and on the brink of collapse, it is unfathomable that 8 of the department's programs underspend on their budget. There must be an intensified effort to improve expenditure and achieve its targets in the correct, value-adding manner. The department is yet to table a report on the systems implemented to increase revenue collection and the successes and challenges of these thus far. The challenge of the huge cost of employees versus vacancy rate remains a problem within the department. And despite numerous requests, a plan detailing how the department intends on resolving this crisis remains absent. Honourable Speaker, the department must provide feedback on how it will prevent future non-compliance of irregular expenditure as we have seen with the 19.4 million rands. In addition, what consequence management steps have been taken? Or is it just ignored or swept under the carpet to repeat itself again? The Portfolio Committee requires the department to table a comprehensive report on the number of EMS practitioners trained, for which qualifications, the nature of the bursaries awarded, and the placement of these EMS practitioners. In addition to this, the status quo and the future of the Limpopo Nursing College lays in limbo. Could the department clearly communicate what the strategy with these are and what the timelines will be? Is there any progress on the establishment of the Limpopo Academic Hospital that is annually promised in the SOPAs and the health department budgets? Honourable Speaker, despite not addressing the ever-increasing out-of-hand medical negligence claims, which is about 14 billion rands, and was about 8 billion rands when I joined the legislature in 2019, as well as the consistent yet contradictory promises by the department that they have a firm grip on it, can the department share the status of the new strategy and whether this is yielding any positive results? The Portfolio Committee awaits a tabled report on the comprehensive expenditure of the COVID-19 budget allocations at the beginning of the financial year, as well as the tabling of the investigation reports, which should have been done ages ago. Why there is a delay and hesitation by the department to table these is a mystery. After all, we've advised on many occasions and platforms that there's nothing wrong or there's no investigations and the Limpopo Department of Health is above board with the PPE scandals. Honourable Speaker, it cannot be acceptable that after all these years the department still has deficiencies in its systems where senior management do not have the relevant internal controls to detect errors in the financial misstatements. Once again, there must be consequence management effective, and the quality of the submitted financial statements must improve to ensure that there is a credible performance report. A list of disciplinary actions taken as well as outcomes must be provided to the committee. This must also include the lease of the radiology equipment at Polokwane Hospital. The report must also include the disciplinary action and or consequence management of employees and officials in incurring the frivolous and wasteful expenditure. In conclusion, the department must explain why there was an underspending of the following conditional grants: antiretroviral treatment program, mental health, oncology services grant, and the health facilities revitalization program. Surely, given the limit of the constrained budget, these funds would have benefited the people of Limpopo drastically. Should this underspend be because of inefficiencies within the department, what action or consequence management has been taken against those responsible? The department must also table a comprehensive report on all infrastructure projects in the year under review. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Maharaj. Honorable Matiani, the politician.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Members, the Department of Health or Health in general remains at the apex, one of the apex priorities of the ANC-led government. And for the purpose of our oversight, Honorable Speaker, we have resolved that issues reported in this August House will serve as standing items in our meetings as a portfolio committee until we are satisfied that the department is able to reduce the risk the department is facing. For the items to serve as standing items, we will be able to make follow-up, receive progress reports. The first issue that we can report to this August House is about irregular expenditure, which poses a threat for this department, Honorable MEC. The expenditure is at 701 million as an opening balance during the audit processes. We have noted that this huge amount of irregular expenditure consists, Honorable Speaker, of 84 million relating to non-compliance with procurement processes of the implementing agent identified by the AG. The 414 million relating to tenders being advertised for a shorter period. The department reported, Honorable Speaker, that the transaction has been submitted to Limpopo Treasury for further action. We will work with the department during our oversight to ensure that this irregular expenditure does not recur further and that the report from Treasury is submitted to the House. The departments must have capacity to institute consequence management where transgressions has been committed by its personnel, because it's one area, Honorable MEC, that will follow up on consequence management in relation to people who are not spending their money according to the PFM. We observe that fruitless and wasteful expenditure as at 31 March 2022 amounted to 5,321,000, and the department further reported that the fruitless and wasteful expenditure incurred during this 2021 financial year amounted to 403,000. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure was due to interest that has been charged by ESCOM, telephone utilities, accommodation service providers, and municipalities due to slowness and unavailability of bus system, as well as delay in the consideration of service providers. However, the department reported that, which is a positive, that they have recovered 5,024,000 that has been recovered from officials and suppliers. We applaud the department for that. Where there is expenditure which is not in line with PFMA and where there is a need to recover money, back the money for back to the purse of the department, it needs to happen like that. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure incurred in 2021 and prior financial years are still under investigation. We will ensure that departments submit the report to the House pertaining to the investigation where wrongdoing has been committed. Honorable MEC will expect consequence management to be instituted. We noted an amount of 336 million emanating from claims and amount was sourced from contingent liabilities. It was reported by the department that the initial batch of 24 matters were referred to mediation with a combination value of 336 million. It was further reported by the department that 12 matters has been successfully concluded as claims bore no physical merits and was not statutory complaints. It was reported that 105 million of the claims was avoided within the time frame of 5 months, amounting to 30% of the referred claim value. The department must improve and strengthen its internal controls. Honorable MEC, submit the plan that identify the gaps in the internal control for the committee to do oversight. We noted the establishment of the Limpopo Academic Hospital is long overdue, and the longer it prolongs, the project might end up not being implemented. During our engagement with the department on the fourth quarter report, the department reported that the project manager was appointed to oversee and fast-track the project. We will do our oversight as the committee to ensure that the establishment of the hospital is ultimately realized. We observed, Honorable Speaker, that the department has targeted 59 clinics to be scaled up as ideal clinics. The department reported that about 41 facilities obtained the first order. The department, Honorable Speaker, presented to the committee the strategic development plan to increase the number of facilities to obtain the ideal clinic status, and reported that it planned to implement this by the 1st of September 2022. We will work with the department during our oversight to ensure that we monitor the implementation of the ideal clinic. We were concerned, Honorable Speaker, about the state of infrastructure in hospitals and clinics, and the department reported the plans to reprioritize its critical infrastructure priorities, and this includes maintenance of crisis points projects and standby generators, laundries, autoclaves, and theaters and buildings. The department must expedite the maintenance process within their means, as the delay affects health patients in Limpopo. Honorable Speaker, we are aware that 2020-21, the country was had entered the uncharted waters. The country was overwhelmed by the scourge of coronavirus, and we are happy that the department worked very well in terms of dealing with the issue of coronavirus in our province. And we are sure that the reprioritization which was done, Honorable MEC, because of the coronavirus, now we will reprioritize back to ensure that we reduce all the risks that are there. As the portfolio committee, we therefore move that this House adopts the fourth quarter report and the annual report. I so move. Thank you. very much, Honorable Speaker. I hereby manifest as called by Honorable Pala, hereby present the oversight report on digital Veritas for this House to adopt.
Thank you very much. Any support?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I strongly support the motion as presented by the Chair of
Thank you very much. We shall now refer to the speaker's list for debate. The first speaker on the list is Honorable Mayor.
Honorable Speaker, Section 27 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa clearly states that 1. Everyone has the right to have access to health care services, including reproductive health care, sufficient food and water, and social security, including if they are unable to support themselves and their dependents, appropriate social assistance. The Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Premier in absentia, Honorable members of the Executive Council, Honorable members of this August House, distinguished guests in the House and in the visual platform, a very blessed morning to you. In his Marxist theory, Carroll said that, I quote, that health and ill health has to be viewed as a social class problem that is linked to inequality. If people had a good standard of living, there would be no ill health. The population from the upper class have a longer life expectancy and they enjoy better levels of health. Honorable Speaker, it was in this August House that as a portfolio committee, we came and rebuked at the strongest terms the exorbitant amounts of medical legal cases. The cases that, Honorable Speaker, that if they were to see the light of day, not only the Department of Health, but this province of Limpopo that is known as the Africa's Eden would be liquidated. Honorable Speaker, not only did we caution the department, but we further urged the department to thoroughly investigate internal possible collision of some of health professionals, patients, and external legal services providers. Honorable Speaker, we have then come to know about the 14 billion medical legal burden of the department. When cases had to go to court, the department at times found itself unable to produce the records needed to defend itself. To prove that there was no negligence where there wasn't any. This leads to the department losing cases unnecessarily because the files are pulled on behalf of some law sources turned lawyers. We are satisfied that the department is on correct digital path and it will move into an era where the use of paper is minimized with massive savings from the cost of paper in the medium to long term. A digital era is also an era of efficiency in the delivery of services. On the 18th of July 2022, we went to learn and witness the security and development of information technology by the Department of Health at the Digital Summit. The development that the department is presenting will be a long-lasting solution to address challenges that arose as its personnel became more sophisticated in the treatment and manipulation of information. What does this mean, Honorable Speaker? I'll tell you what. It means that patients will soon no longer have to wait for long periods of time for employees to search for their files to be retrieved before they can be serviced. Waiting time at these facilities will be reduced, and that is where the Department of Health is going. When the staff cannot find the patient file at this moment, Honorable Speaker, the reality is that they will open a new one. The scanning of these documents means that the work of doctors will also be made easy. They will know what is the history of the patient, what treatment was given to the treatment before, accurate, up-to-date, and complete information about patients at the point of care. This, Honorable Speaker, will no doubt contribute to improving health outcomes in the province. Doctors will further be able to share electronic information with patients and other clinicians in a secure way and be able to complement one another in providing care to one patient, because the information about that patient would be easily accessible by the doctor any other place in the province and beyond the province. Other health professionals will also provide better services to patients, Honorable Speaker, when they are able to instantly access the patient record for various reasons. And over and above that, the confidentiality that is needed about the patient's medical status is immeasurable in a society where human dignity is paramount and enshrined in the laws of the land, which is the Constitution. This initiative, Honorable Speaker, will go a long way in delivering quality and adequate health services to the people of Limpopo, through resources that will be spared in stepping or putting a stop on medical cases, which will also be spared in the supply and procurement of stationery. This initiative will be a step in the right direction towards total attainment of the universal access to quality healthcare services and the NHI, as it is designed to provide access to quality, affordable personal health services to all South Africans based on their health needs, irrespective of their social or economic status. And as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, health is the greatest gift, containment is the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship, as we have stated. And I thank you.
Greetings once more. Honorable Speaker, Veritas Digital, which a company contracted by the department to digitalize files in all Limpopo hospitals, is a scam. There are many unanswered questions which relate to this contracting. We need to get genuine and honest responses today in this house. It seems like everything about the service provider is missing. No one seems to know how they got the contract and which processes were followed in selecting them. The things of darkness are always concealed and hidden away from the public so that people should not ask difficult questions. For example, not much is known about when this company was contracted and how much was the value of the contract. This is basic information that should be made available for public consumption because taxpayers should not be struggling to have access to such key information in the interest of accountability and transparency. First and foremost, what is the profile of this company in terms of executing such responsibility? Who is the director or directors and where is it based? Honorable Speaker, is there any search or vetting that was conducted before instilling the services of this company? What work of the same magnitude did they do previously and where? If the report was that Veritas Digital is paid 1 million per day are true, then this is the worst form of corruption to be experienced in the past 10 years in this province. What warrants or justifies the company to be paid such a lot of money per day? Even if they were to bring specialized skill in terms of digitalizing our hospital files, it would not justify 1 million rands in a day. We need answers here. How do you pay one company such an exorbitant amount of money when our people languish in poverty and hunger every day? Government allocates confidential contracts like this through politicians in order to certify the corruption appetite for renewable service providers to share profits. It is time to expose and stop jamming through because it is part of the strategy by politicians to siphon money from the government into their pockets to the service providers. Honorable Speaker, we also need to know whether the service provider covers all hospitals in the province or just the select few. If it is the selected few, which hospitals have been this program. It must be clear whether we are dealing with pilot project or something else. What is going to happen with staff once the company completes this contract and leaves? Is there any skills transfer agreement between the department and the teacher? Honorable Speaker, we are alarmed that on the record of the past 10 years were considered. What is the rationale for this and how is it contributing to service delivery? The department argues that by digitalizing hospital files, they are actually reducing medical claims, and yet these claims continue to arise on a daily basis. Can the NEC tell us what is the total medical legal bill in the department? Is the department giving us its speed, and where will the money to pay come from? A lot of this contingent liability can be reduced by not being negligent. Those who are negligent resulting in huge contingent liability must pay with their pension money. The government must cut around the expenditure at all costs because it compromises service delivery to the people's affairs.
Thank you, Honorable Maharaj.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the committee took a resolution to conduct an urgent site visit on the 18th of July 2022 to the scanning and storage facilities of Veritas Digital in Polokwane. This was as a result of media reports that the department had contracted Veritas Digital to digitize its hospital files and that it has paid an amount of 1 million rands per day. This speaks to the lack of accountability and transparency displayed by the MC and the department. When a portfolio committee must receive details of such a massive contract from the media and concerned members of the public on social media. The committee visited the scanning warehouse and discovered they were dealing with inactive files. The files are barcoding with digital labeling, and the label files are then captured by a data capturer who also ensure the files to be captured contains the correct information. Capturing included the patient's name, reference number, ID number, or date of birth. The committee also visited the cutting section, preparation section, and the refiling section, as well as the area responsible for the actual scanning of the files. And I repeat my words to the portfolio committee, this is not rocket science. Speaker, the visit to the storage warehouse, where all the scanned documents are stored, was also concerning because we were informed that only 30% of the active files were digitized and stored so far. The department needs to fast-track the archiving and disposal of digitized archives. It is, however, encouraging, at least, that the intention is to get to a point where doctors, nurses, and all staff in hospitals will start using desktops, laptops, and tablets to electronically capture files and other pertinent information instead of using paper. The committee asked questions and requested written responses. Some were received, some are still outstanding. And what is of great concern is that the department has already paid over 516 million rands to the contractor Veritas Digital since its appointment till the 15th of June 2022. The department further estimates that it will add an additional 600 million rands for the remainder of the contract period, and 280 million rands will be needed to complete the scanning of outstanding inactive records, and a further 320 million rands for active medical records. Speaker, it shows how little the MEC and the poorly run department care about actually providing health care to Limpopo residents when there are vacant posts for doctors and nurses across the province, no medical equipment, not enough hospital beds, dilapidated health infrastructure, but we spend R1 billion to scan and photocopy files. The department utilizes about 70% of its budget on compensating employees, and this leaves very little resources for the services. This expenditure on digitizing files is unacceptably excessive. Instead of addressing the issues like this that actually affect our people's healthcare system, an MC would rather spend their days taking cowardly videos, berating and humiliating vulnerable patients than do their job in earnest. The digitizing of records is important and will help improve services, but not at this cost. Even in the references of previous work, this company has been doing similar work for various companies for amounts that are less than 12 million rands, and even though this contract will require them to do much more work and deal with a larger volume, 1 million rand is simply too much. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, We must also note that medical negligence claims are prescribed after 3 years. So that question begs, what is the cost versus benefit analysis of these digitized files versus the medical negligence claims that have been paid? And can there be a report table on this? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. In the early 2016, the world learned a term coined fourth industrial revolution by the person called Collage. And most of the industries, including some of the government departments, converted their information into digital. This revolution is characterized by the convergence and complementarity of emerging technologies domains, including nanotechnologies, biotechnologies, new materials, and advanced digital production. This technology is already transforming the digital industrial landscape. I must indicate, Honorable Speaker, that the third industrial revolution triggered the fourth industrial revolution in the 1960s. That was chiefly a product of advances in computing. South Africa did not see itself immune to this system. I must indicate, Honorable Speaker, that our Department of Health, as a way of ensuring security and management of information, its use in the form of files, is exploring to digitalize patients' information. And we commend that, Honorable MC. Because if the medical legal challenges that we are facing of 14 billion, and we are doing something to address that challenge in terms of the loss of files. I think it's something that is commendable, and we say continue to do that so that we don't experience challenges and increase in the medical legal bill. We took an oversight visit on the 18th of July 2022 to verify the existence of digitalizing these files. The reason why we took that oversight visit, Honorable MEC, is because we were told that scanning a file, you can even use a phone to scan a file. And when we went there, we realized that thing we were told of using a phone to scan a file is neither here nor there. But we were very happy that we can report to this House that indeed, Polokwane Extension 8, Mafeza Street, there is a company that is working in digitalizing the files there. On our arrival, we found that there were people working and the contractor works in a very professional manner, Honorable Speaker. The files are being digitalized after 10 years order backwards. The hospitals was built which are inactive. What we can encourage, Honorable MEC, is that looking at the inactive file, we must also look at the active files, so that whenever patients come to the hospitals, we are able to use the digitalized way of getting information. So the department, instead of prioritizing inactive files, they must also prioritize active files. Start with the district hospitals that are around the province, then you can cascade to other hospitals and clinics. If we do that, then all the challenges in terms of files that are stolen by 2+ lawyers and everyone will come to an end. We are also happy, Honorable MEC, that young people that are there that are being trained in terms of capturing, digitalizing the files. What we can urge the department is that we must not lose that knowledge that those young people are acquiring from that contract and the transfer of skills which is happening there. That those skills that are transferred, let those young people who are working go to hospital, be appointed in hospital to continue the work in terms of labeling and capturing, resizing, scanning, all the files that will be coming as and when the contract is done. We found that the validation section was where the scanned files checked for quality control, checking for human errors against the physical files. So all the work that has been happening there is the work that we really commend. If we want to be part of the fourth industrial revolution, I think we should go the route that the department has gone in terms of assisting these files. What we can urge is that the knowledge that those young people who are there with qualification, we were asking them, which qualification do you have, where do you come from? We realize they come across the whole province and they are working there. And they are young people with degrees who were not employed and they are being employed there. What we can urge you, honorable colleagues, is that those young people must be absorbed into the system of the Department of Health. We really want to thank you for that. We commend the initiative taken by the Department of aligning our government with fourth industrial revolution. We are hopeful that in future the Department will rely on this information to carry out and manage their operations, interact with internal human capital to support the patients. This type of information is a client management system that will help to provide services to our people. And we move accordingly, Honorable Speaker, that this report be adopted by this other side. I thank you.
Thank you very much. We shall now call upon the Honorable MC for help to come and respond to the debate by the Honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Chief Whip, Honorable members of the Executive Council, and members of the opposition party, and honorable members. Let me start here by joining my colleague, the MEC for Transport and Community Safety, to send a message of condolences. Unfortunately, the number of the fatalities has risen. The EMS operation report that we received indicates that we have just attended this morning a motor vehicle accident involving an SUV and a heavy-duty truck which had collided on the N1 bypass just next to one of the north. 2 patients were transported from the scene, of which one died on arrival at the hospital. EMS has now extricated the trapped patients from the SUV. In summary, Honorable Speaker, 9 patients died on the scene, 1 died on arrival at the hospital, 1 is currently in critical care at Polokwane Provincial Hospital. The initial reports that we have indicated that this is a family. They were in a convoy of 3 vehicles when the accident occurred. All the other vehicles have now came back to the scene, and our teams, together with the social workers, the police, forensic, are trying to provide the psychosocial support. It's not a very scene that honorable members would want or wish anyone to be. So amongst those who perished, the people, we have 2 children. May their souls rest in peace. Honorable
These are some of the issues that we have to deal with as the Department of Health on a daily basis. And these are those incidents that we would not have planned or wish to see happen. But at the end of the day, they will require the expenditure from the very same department. Honorable members have raised a lot of questions about our EMS, and we want to indicate that yes, indeed, we are procuring EMS vehicles on a daily basis. But it appears that if the rate of replacement ambulances is not at the same rate as when we lose our ambulances. Only 57 out of the over 300 ambulances are the ones that we can comfortably say they should be on the road. Now our province, because of the number of issues, that includes the geographic spread, that includes the type of roads that we have, are making it difficult for us to be able to arrive where we want in terms of the ambulances replacement. An ambulance in Limpopo moved from Sina or Madimo on a daily basis to Petersburg Hospital, which is over.
Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise on a point of privilege because I want to request you, Honorable Speaker, to ask the NEC of Health to sincerely apologize to the people for the utterance that she has made in the matter, because the reality of the matter is that so I vote for second. Okay, thank you, Speaker. I'm saying the utterances that she has made was really not true. Because if you are to listen to the debate and everything that has been said in this today, it can tell you that the problem of the healthcare centers, facilities in the province, has got nothing to do with immigrants. So the NEC lied to the people of Limpopo, lied to the people of Limpopo. She actually lies to the people. She has lied to the people. It can't be that it cannot be. It cannot be that. It cannot be. It cannot be that the people of it can't be that people can be subjected to a but I'm not done. I'm not done. But I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you.
I've allowed you to raise your point of order.
Yes.
But you are now addressing this house. What you are doing is not a point of order. Can you sit down so that I can respond to our
you cannot say it's not a point of order because that's what I like for.
Now,
you can say you're going to
make your point. Can you sit down?
That is the decision that I want from you, but it's fine.
Can you sit down? Honorable members, can I respond to the point of order before? Because in terms of the rules, if a member raises a point of order, you allow the presiding officer to respond before and then we will come after. I want to respond to the point of order. Honorable Shoka, you know that you are out of order. Can I respond, honorable members? Honorable Shoka, can you listen, honorable Shoka? Honorable Shoka, can you listen? I want to respond.
Okay, I'm listening. I was just to say about this disruptor.
No, can you listen? Honorable Shoka is out of order because he knows the word in terms of the rules. No member is allowed to interject any member who is on the platform. So you are out of order, Honorable Shoka. You lose the way. You lose, can you sit down and allow the MEC to proceed? You are out of order, Honorable Shoka.
But you can't be saying Honorable Speaker, no. But you can't. No, Honorable Speaker. You can't be misrepresenting the rules of the House. I'm raising a point of order. I was not interjecting. That's not the
Thank you.
Or leave the house.
Point of order.
I was waiting for the very time.
Yes.
I was waiting for the
Point of order.
Honorable.
No, what's the matter? What's the guy?
Thanks very much.
Replacement of our EMS vehicles is noted, and we have already indicated the challenges that faces our province. To say one EMS vehicle is forced on a day to can travel from Musina to Petersburg or from Tawazini or from Limpopo, which results in them and their lifespan. And unfortunately, equally, the types of roads as a rural province, which we always indicate that more than 80% of our province is rural, and the type of roads that our EMS vehicles are subjected to travel on becomes a serious challenge. So that is why we will continue to procure EMS vehicles on an annual basis, but it will appear as if we are doing nothing. The question is, if we were not procuring them, what could have been the situation that we find ourselves in? Our N1 roads, like I've just indicated this morning, we are always on a weekend. If we follow the Department of Transport and Community Safety, we will hear about their reports in terms of the accidents that have occurred on our roads. And we on health, while they report about the fatalities, we also at the same time, those that are not reported are the ones who will be in our facilities having to be done operations, and that of course it is having an impact on the expenditure. We will continue to work with the portfolio committee to make sure that even with our sister departments to address all these challenges. But also there are serious issues that were raised by honorable members, especially on the underspending, which we have taken note of it. While yes, the year under review, we had to deal with the issues of COVID-19. We must also indicate that the under expenditure, especially on that year, could be attributed to COVID-19 conditional grant spending efficiencies. And as a department, we have now put systems in place that have made it to continue to contain the COVID-19. Therefore, the budget will now work in with the Treasury. We have already met with a Treasury, even the National, to agree to say the grant that has been for COVID to avoid the under expenditure, so that we are able to move the money to where it's needed. On the COE, honorable members, we do regret the fact that certain benefits that were due to be paid to workers were not honored because at that time there were inefficient information that we received at the end of financial year. And it was going to be another irregular or another audit query had we paid this without satisfying ourselves that indeed these employees do meet the requirement. So that is what has led to the under-expenditure on COE. We should also note that in terms of the oncology grant, we had a serious challenge when it came to the equipment that were only delivered now, which we do not even have in the country. That is where the under-expenditure is. But the equipment are now there. Issues of HIV grant, we also had to come up with a catch-up plan, because when we were dealing with the COVID, we realized that some of the pandemics and some of the burden of disease that we were dealing with previously ended up being neglected, because everybody has put all their energy in fighting COVID. So, honorable members, we are noting that, and we will never accept the issues of under-expenditure. And in terms of consequence management, we are really reassuring this House that as we have presented to the portfolio committee, we are working on that to address those issues. Honorable members, the last issue, which is the medical legal, we have been given an opportunity in this August House previously to come and present our plans on that, and we have done that, and we will continue to work with the portfolio committee on the issues of contingency liability. Our plans, our strategic plans were presented to the committee, which adopted, and they will be monitoring through their oversight whether we are really implementing. We might not see the benefits now, but we believe that once the whole plan starts rolling out, we will be able to see that. So, honorable members, medical legal and negligence is top in terms of our list, because for us as a department, when somebody claims, we don't only look at the monetary, we also ask ourselves, this means that a life could have been lost or someone did not receive quality care. So we are alive to all those, and that is why for us we don't only worry about the 14.4 billion that is out there. We are worried about how many people visited our facilities and did not receive joy. So we will be reporting to this House in terms of the progress that we have made in keeping this medical legal. On the second matter, Honorable Speaker, that has been raised about the digitalization of our information, we really need to welcome the inputs that were made, especially by our chairperson of the committee, and of course about some of the members of the committee. Honorable gave a background on why, as a country or as a province, we cannot be left outside. Honorable Libya also assisted us to try to share with all of us why it is important to have the digitalization. To respond to some of the questions that we are asked here, we should indicate that there is no company that was picked on the street. The first tender was advertised on the 2nd of August 2019 and closed on the 30th of August 2019. Unfortunately, they couldn't find a suitable bidder. The second tender was then re-advertised on the 13th of December 2019 and closed on the 13th of February 2020. Honorable members, the processes were followed. Even the audits, we have had 2 audits since this service provider has started, and there is no finding from the Auditor General, which for me as an executive authority, the first person that must flag any irregularity would be the Auditor General. And once they flag,
We will therefore refer to those institutions like the SIU to can investigate. As it is for now, the reports that we have, this matter has not been flagged. The processes where we are sitting have been followed. And we are saying to anyone who listening to the debates here, Honorable Speaker, I'm not hearing even those who are against this digitalization saying they have gone to the warehouse, they couldn't find anybody, money is just being paid for work that cannot be proven. Everybody is saying, yes, we need to, but we are not satisfied why this company has been appointed. It's more than 2.5 years that they've been working. There is work that they are doing, and nobody can challenge that there is no work that is being done. Meaning the company is doing the work. And maybe we are not happy because, honorable members, I must raise in this house something that I've never seen happen. When we were appearing in the portfolio committee, the member of the DA asked me a question. We should have appointed Metro 5, which could have been farmership. And for interest sake, I went to go and dig up what is happening with this Metro 5. And we need to be honest. Only to find that they were a competent people around.
No, but that's wrong. No, but you can't be saying, no, Honorable Speaker. When a point of order is raised, you can't be saying, you must give him that privilege. No, you can't be saying, you can't be telling us. You cannot, you must give him an opportunity to raise the point of order and rule on that.
Leave the house.
Yes, Number 2, can we leave this house? 3, you don't want to go and I'll assist you on another shop. Second, and I'm telling us you to remove the shop. So I can go out. Can go out. Can you sit down? You have been given. Can you sit down? No.
Leave the house.
I was indicating that for me, it was for the first time that I would hear honorable members in a portfolio committee asking the department and even suggestion that you could have appointed Company X in this instance, because that was an official meeting on record. Metro file was indicated. And that did not overwhelm us. And also with me to say, I also cannot, at no any circumstances, suggest to the HOD or CFO or any administrator that this company should be appointed over the other one. That is why even today we have taken the matter up with the ethics committee. Because when we went back to check even our the whole tender process, Metro 5 was found to be a competitive bidder. And I believe that there is something it's not on. That honorable members of the committee who are given the responsibility by the people of Limpopo to vote that they must protect their resources, they are then wanting to be intaking themselves in the supply chain and procurement processes. So we will await for the process that the ethics committee will be embarking on this particular matter. So, Honorable Speaker, we have listened carefully and we have had advices on how to move forward. We can indicate that we have started on the 3rd of September after the advice of the committee to start with the active funds, but also to explain that the current act doesn't allow us to destroy medical records. That is why we had to start with the inactive files, so that until we prove that we have got a backup system on medical records, we will then go to the archives through the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture and request permission to destroy those inactive files. But when before we do that, we could not be allowed to create space. The current process is not only for selected hospitals, it's for all our hospitals. This is not a pilot. This is the work that is actually being done. We are saying the next phase will be now, after all our active files have been digitalized. Let's then move to make sure that every doctor, every nurse consult the patient using the IR4 as we have always been talking about. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, change is painful, and whenever there is change, we will have a lot of people with uncertainty. This is what we have been talking about. In 2016, 6 months after my appointment,
Honorable Langa, who advocated Godlan, who was the member of this legislature, visited some of our facilities. And I can still share with you the articles that the pictures he has taken about how bad our filing system is. We can still go back to the Public Service Commission that visited our facility also and come up with a very damning report that the reason why our medical legal negligence and liability, contingency liabilities are high is because of our failure to even file. In responding to that public outcry, we had to come up, we had to come up with the digitalization. It is meant for the good, and unfortunately, we have to pay for that. Even if we might think when we need change, the change will come at a price. And honorable members, thank you very much to the committee for going and do their own oversight and not listening to what we are telling them. Because reports might be beautiful, but the actual work might not be done. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Consideration and adoption of the report of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development. Committee Chair. Thank you very much. Any second? Honorable Mubaka. Thank you very much. Shall I refer to the speakers list? The first speaker on the list is Honorable Matiani.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable
speak of the majority. Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Deputy Chair of Chairs, Honorable Members of the Executive.
Honorable Chair, can you move the mic closer
to my mouth?
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and everybody in the gallery. I greet you all in the name of Christ Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Honorable Speaker, rising to debate the oversight from the Polokwane of Agriculture and Rural Development. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, the word of God says, the Lord God took man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it. Madam Speaker, the Department of Agriculture focused on the following key strategic priorities, which are aligned to the new growth path, aligned to National Development Plan, aligned to Agricultural Policy Action Plan, and 9 points in contributing to the following outcomes. 1, increased smallholder agricultural products, which is crop and livestock. 2, development of processing and value additional enterprise. 3, employment creation leading to poverty alleviation. 4, support agribusiness, which is agricultural cooperatives and agricultural enterprise on finance and market access. 5, veterinary regulatory services to reduce impact of food and mouth diseases. 6, extend and improve skills development and training of in the agricultural sector. 7, coordination of rural development program for integration of rural areas, achieve successful infrastructure development and job creation and poverty alleviation. Madam Speaker, as I said, God put a man in the land. We've got a problem with the land. The land question still remains a problem for our people to access the land so that they can produce. The land issue remains an important debate in the South African geopolitical space, with a view to moving towards an equitable share of the land as envisioned in the Freedom Charter state. Thus, the land shall be shared amongst those who work in it. The South African Constitution sought to turn this ideal into reality with a section 25, subsection 5, placing an obligation on the state to take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to foster conditions which enable citizens to gain access to land on an equitable basis. We are still very far from this vision. According to the land audit, there is very little progress has been made in realizing the vision. Madam Speaker, statistics indicate the following reality. 70% of farm and agricultural land is still held by white people, and only 4% is held by black people. The audit also revealed that women own only 18% of private land, dropping to 13% for farm and agricultural audits. The results of the audit confirm that the state's current approach to land distribution is failing. Honorable members, it is important to highlight this as a background to our approach on our visit to various projects throughout the province. The sad reality is that we are sitting on festering sore, very painful, with little change on the status quo. Honorable members, it becomes important to highlight this reality because whatever schemes are supported by the provincial government should be explanatory because, truly speaking, in the larger scheme of things, there are not that many and should be easy to oversee and support. It is important, honorable members, that we raise this unfortunate issue of land because the success or failure of this scheme gives a
process of the overall functionality of the department. Madam Speaker, I'm focusing on the debate right now that mostly of the irrigation schemes in our province, Packhouses and agro-processing are still questionable because not most of them, they are really properly or are functional. The percentage contribution of Limpopo agricultural to national agriculture is 7.6%, although its contribution to provincial GDP is just 2.3%. We should be concerned that these contributions are not necessarily from farms managed and owned by the previously marginalized people. It is important to know the role that can be played by agro-processing, given the enormous potential to expand in every sub-sector. Hence, the importance of functional irrigation scheme and packhouses will advance agro-processing. Honorable members, irrigation schemes, as our Honorable Premier in his 2021-22 State of the Province Address said, government will embark on a program of the revitalization of irrigation schemes as part of the task to increase agricultural production and improve food security. It therefore became very important for us to assess the functionality of those very irrigation schemes. Small-scale irrigation farming is envisaged to play a progressive large role in rural development and to help reduce some inequalities in South African space economy. Since the late 1990s, the government has aimed to revitalize government-owned small-scale irrigation scheme, mainly located in former homelands. Its micro-policy shift seems to favor the creation of black farming element. Important questions are whether no-liberalism, neo-liberalism policies will harm the poorest of most vulnerable in irrigation farming communities, and whether a new class of pretty commodity producers can establish themselves in global commodity chains. These questions, Honorable MEC, should occupy your planning session as you implement your plans moving forward. Madam Speaker, we visited Dovheni irrigation scheme. Our visit to Dovheni irrigation scheme proved a sad disappointment where the work that has been established more than 24 years ago has now gone to waste. The aim was for the irrigation scheme to create self-sufficient black farmers with the ability to contribute to the food value chain and poverty alleviation. To process products and create employment, resulting in poverty alleviation. Madam Speaker, there is a serious challenge, as it was reported to the committee, that there has been assistance from the department since 2009. Honorable MEC, given the points raised earlier with regard to our historical mission as the African National Congress-led government, the above leaves much to be desired. In not so many ways, this scheme has totally collapsed. We require the Honorable MEC to brief this House as to what transpired here and what are the future plans. Madam Speaker, Matsika Banana Project. The project has all the necessary equipment and state-of-the-art house for it to be functional and contributing meaningfully to the province. We are, however, concerned the important equipment such as the air conditioners and processing belt, as well as the standby generators, were not functional. We expect that on this level, the department should be assisting with regard to marketing and processing. But the fact that we have non-functional equipment is really a disappointment. Despite these challenges, the staff then reported that they received the necessary support from the department. The Packhouse has the potential to take agro-processing to the next level, and we encourage the department to closely monitor this program so that we may receive the desired outcome. Honorable members, Nwanedi Packhouse
however, about the high cost of electricity, which has now resulted in lower profit margin for the farmers. We encourage the department to look into alternative energy sources, such as solar energy for the Packhouse. More should be done to ensure that Nwanedi is fully self-sustaining, so that it can grow to further heights. The issue of theft was also raised as a serious problem to this project. And the farmers are trying to address, working closely with other farmers in the area, as well as the community policing forums and the local police. Nwanedi is not yet at the same level as its privately owned commercial counterparts, but we believe that with the necessary support, it can move in that direction. Let us see the as I conclude. It is a fact that the amount of investment flowing to an economy should depend on the rate of return it is likely to generate. From that point of departure, we can recommend that agro development in the Limpopo province should target output, should target income or employment. If we aim at reducing poverty, more emphasis should be placed in the trade sector, more so agro processing, as it gives more return on the investment in these three variables. Proper MEC, we believe, you should guide and you should make your team to strategize moving into sustainable agro processing. Our visit seems to suggest that existing approaches to agricultural commercialization may not be moving at a fast enough scale as we envisage to reduce rural poverty and inequality. If the current model is not reviewed, then we don't have a brighter future for this. This is a matter that you need to robustly engage with the both provincial and national level. Agriculture is an important factor in economic growth and development. Indeed, most development practitioners acknowledge that faster economic growth leads to faster poverty reduction. This, however, have to address in the same line with further investment in agricultural research, financing provisions of seeds, mechanization, etc., and progressive policy reforms in agriculture of if we are to see a return in investment in this sector. The importance of agriculture in poverty reduction should result in poor people standing to benefit from an increased agricultural income, because many of the poor live in rural areas. Indeed, if we move in the right direction, most of them would earn their living in agriculture or agricultural related activities, more so agro processing. In a rural province such as Limpopo, this fact cannot be overemphasized. Access to land creates generational wealth. It creates food security and is a source of self-determination that contributes to social and economic empowerment. Hence, the importance of this program. We would like the department to keep its eye on the crimes and continue to ensure success of this program. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The ANC politicians and department officials are swimming in a pool of corruption undeterred and with no fear of repercussions. Vhembe region used to be the basket food of our beloved country. The ANC-led government has successfully destroyed that which works to feed our nation to a shocking collapse of agricultural activities in the Vhembe District as witnessed during the Oversight visit to selected projects. Honorable Speaker, there is a correlation between the audit opinion on the department and what is happening on the ground. The EFF government will maximally build and support the cultivation and agro-processing of subtropical fruits in the Vhembe region. Honorable Speaker, the Dovheni irrigation scheme under Lambani Municipality has 54 hectares in extent, was established 24 years ago and fully funded by a department with irrigation system, electricity, Packhouse, and provision of production inputs for vegetable production. This is a farm located on prime agricultural land with enough water for sustainable agricultural production. Honorable Speaker, the EFF was shocked and pained by the status of the project as there is no sign of irrigation system installed. Water pump and electricity transformer were reported but have been stolen. These are symptoms of imposed project to communities without a proper buy-in and sense of project ownership. The department continues to plan and implement projects without looking at the skills, capacity, and management of mega projects. The collapse of these projects points towards poor management, exacerbated by corruption and the internal conflicts of their beneficiaries. Honorable Speaker, the EFF calls on the department to learn from the experience of the irrigation scheme and apply all simple basic principles of state intervention and development catalyst projects. Honorable Speaker, the painful truth is that the ANC-led government through the Department of Agriculture had inherited the functional agricultural colleges and collapsed them to a disastrous status. Madzivhandila quality infrastructure is dilapidated even after report of massive infrastructure development. The environment had reached its lowest ebb, and communities are no longer benefiting from what used to be the basket food for the communities around. Honorable Speaker, through neoliberal policies of the ANC, budget cuts due to austerity measures led to the college to be understaffed, dilapidation of clinical population, collapse of library and laboratory due to lack of maintenance. The department is now transferring the dysfunctional college to national department owing to poor funding. Truth be told, the department is led by visionary management who have no idea on how to take the college forward. There is no hope in resuscitating the two colleges of agriculture in Limpopo province. Honorable Speaker, this is a Matsika banana project. Is a banana producing farm of 9 hectares in extent situated in Matsika under Dovheni Municipality in Vhembe District. The farm's strength is commitment of the beneficiaries who give all to sustain the farm to its status. The department assisted the farm with fence, construction of water pump house, bulk water supply pipes, a balancing dam, Packhouse, the installation of infill irrigation system, all 90 hectares for banana production. The dream to supply international market by farmers is not far to be reached. The only challenge is the department's failure to monitor sales providers and aftercare monitoring systems. Honorable Speaker, the hearing is disturbed by the fact that the department installed state-of-art Packhouse for picking and grading bananas. Due to poor workmanship, the service provider installed dysfunctional cold and conveyor belts for the grading system. As it stands, the mega million Packhouse and Matsika banana project remains quite relevant, while the service provider is paid for the work not done. The EFF calls upon the MEC to follow up the matter and ensure the Packhouse is operating. Failure which will defer the dream of the farmers of being exporters of banana and fail the whole project. Finally, Honorable Speaker, the EFF has been calling for proper access roads that connect the farms and the main roads in Matsika project. The dirty gravel road from the farm to the main road compromise the factor of when delivered to the market. We therefore call upon the department to include access roads in their plans when such mega projects are initiated. And further call for the MEC to engage the Lambani Municipality with the aim to resolve the access dirty gravel road to the project. Honorable Speaker, the community visited the food and mouth disease hotspot in Collage, Lambani, Musina Municipality to assess the state of the area and readiness of the department to combat the outbreak and spread of the FMG. The committee visited areas which outbreak of FMG were reported, that is Matiani village in Collage Municipality, Lambani, Redline village, Muhuyu village in Lambani Municipality, and Shakadza village in Musina Municipality. Honorable Speaker, the Redline fence and gate, which is the first line of defense, does not exist, meaning that the buffaloes move freely from Muhuyu National Park to villages uncontrolled. There are no physical human bodies to monitor and control the fence, and worse, only two old helpless guards were found at the Lambani Redline gate. In simple terms, the Limpopo Department of Agriculture have no FMD preventative measures, and the veterinary section is useless and dysfunctional. It was heartbreaking to discover the dysfunctional dipping tanks, lack of FMD awareness, and dilapidated dipping tanks. The farmers confirmed that the department never communicated any outbreak or to do the normal dipping of livestock for the past 12 months. The committee witnessed the staging by the department to fix the dipping tanks on the day of the visit. This is a call for concern that there are no mitigation measures to combat the spread of FMD in Vhembe District. The official points to lack of human and financial resources to buy chemicals and fencing material. The department has literally left the people of Limpopo to deal with FMD on their own. Honorable Speaker, the area reports for the MEC and HOD of the department to be criminal charged with economic sabotage, which is tantamount to treason, the highest criminal act in the land. The sanctions for the building are taking into account that comes as a result of the outbreak of FMD is apportioned to incompetence of the department MEC and HOD, deliberate sabotage, negligent, and sleeping on duty. We submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Portfolio Committee of Agriculture and Rural Development invites the Oversight visits to Dovheni irrigation scheme, Madzivhandila Agricultural School, Matsika Banana Project, Food and Mouth Redline Zones, Matiani, Lambani, Damani, and Muhuyu, to assess the success and challenges facing the project, with the purpose to assess how the Limpopo Department of Agriculture and Rural Development was doing in terms of combating and preventing the outbreak of foot and mouth disease around the Vhembe District. During the oversight visit in the Vhembe District near the National Park Bend, as a committee, we witnessed the dilapidated state of the Redline, as well as non-functioning stations within the region. Honorable Speaker, although the increase in the budget for the Department of Agriculture for Program 4 veterinary services was utilized for vaccines and dipping cattle, the porous red line and broken fences allow foot and mouth carriers to move out and mingle with cattle, spreading the disease. The delays in procuring vaccines from Uganda is a concern and directly affects the prevention of FMD in the province. The South African National Park does not maintain the Kruger National Park fence surrounding Matiani village. Fence breakage by elephants allow buffaloes and other FMD carriers to spread the highly contagious disease when these animals mingle with cattle. The dipping tank facility at Lambani village was overgrown by then during our visit. A clear indication that it was hardly utilized despite the latest outbreak of FMD earlier this year. During the oversight, it was evident that Muhuyu dipping tank was just being repaired, maintained, and not being utilized. Engagements with farmers revealed that the Shakadza dipping tanks were last utilized for bio-PDP of cattle in 2012, and the borehole was also not functioning, and that dipping tanks were repaired just prior to the committee's oversight visit. Honorable Speaker, the Redline in Lambani is non-existent, and it is the responsibility of the Department of Agriculture to mandate public works to erect the fence and maintain it. However, the departments are shifting this responsibility. What is further concerning is the high number of vacancies in animal technicians responsible for disease control that by then were not filled and they were vacant. And we do believe that this attributes to the FMD outbreak. Honorable Speaker, it is clear that the lack of cohesion between the relevant departments created threats of continuous FMD outbreaks which can be avoided in the fences of Kruger Park's fence and the Redline fences are continued. The lack of biosecurity control measures is threatening the agricultural industry as a whole, which includes game farming, and this is a huge cause of concern. A well-regulated and controlled red meat industry in Limpopo has huge export potential, which in turn will be a catalyst to job creation and prosperity for all of our farmers. The department must fill all animal technician vacancies and implement a collaborative effort between all departments and stakeholders to prevent any FMD outside the red line zone to ensure continued growth in the red meat and related industries. At the Nwanedi vegetable farm, as a committee, we appreciated the good working relationship between the two Nwanedi brothers who took over their late father's farm. Nwanedi brothers indicated that their father trained them and instilled in the love of farming. As a result, they never worked anywhere in life except in their farm. The portfolio committee was very impressed with the good working ethics and good story they saw, and we told them that they must continue working all together. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Matsika.
Eating too much of water affects the reasoning and the body weight of it. Eating too much water and pepper affects the IQ level of the individual and the body. Honorable Speaker and members of this August House, I greet you and I hope that you will all finally come together and break fashion. Thank you very much for the opportunity to debate on the portfolio committee of the Oversight Visit. And the portfolio committee marked the Oversight visit to Dovheni irrigation scheme, Madzivhandila Agricultural College, Matsika project, Nwanedi Packhouse, Matiani foot and mouth disease redline lines, Muhuyu dipping tank, Shakadza dipping tank. The aim of the visit was to see how the Limpopo Department of Agriculture and Rural Development was doing in terms of combating and preventing the outbreak of the foot and mouth disease around the place. It was also to monitor the support by the department to the native farmers the department, through its agricultural support and producer development, as well as veterinary services, continue to support various initiatives, including infrastructure projects. Honorable Speaker, Madzivhandila Agricultural College is one of the two colleges that plays a pivotal role in terms of agricultural skills development in the Limpopo province. And the college has continued to train students and farmers. We appreciate that the college has placed some of its students in the commercial farms for experiential learning. This will go a long way in ensuring that they become agricultural practitioners, entrepreneurs, or commercial farmers themselves. Having said that, we ask the department to ensure that the students are not exploited and abused. The committee commends the department for good work in upgrading the infrastructure, especially the access road to Madzivhandila Agricultural College. We recommend that the same or better standard of the road can be extended to connect the main road which connects to the R524. Honorable Speaker, the Portfolio Committee found that Madzivhandila Agricultural College had serious challenges in terms of budget cuts, and it was difficult for the college to perform its normal and critical daily operations because it is run as a sub-directorate of the department. In addition, there were 30 critical vacancies that have not been filled. The students are not receiving National Student Financial Aid Scheme because the college is still not yet under the higher education department. We are concerned that the migration of the agricultural colleges from the Department of Agriculture to higher education has not taken place since April 2022 as initially planned. But however, this must be fast-tracked to ensure that students benefit from financial assistance. The committee has also noted with concern that the safety of students and employees is not guaranteed due to dilapidated peripheral fence, lack of functional Apollo lights and CCTV cameras, as well as poor access control to campus and hostels. This should be addressed as a matter of urgency, and the department will ensure that other cross-cutting challenges that affect Dovheni College are also addressed simultaneously until the migration has materialized. Projects Dovheni irrigation scheme. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, but of course that honorable members exclude one. The Dovheni irrigation scheme is a community project that was initially donor funded and supported by the department with a focus on crop and chicken production. The Portfolio Committee noted with concern that production was not taking place and there were various challenges in the project, including poor community relations, high cost of electricity, theft of produce, dilapidated infrastructure, and vandalization of transformers and pumps. Of concern to us is that the department does not appear to be hands-on in the project, and it does not immediately clear on what plans the department and community must have to ensure that the project is revived and sustained further without continuous support from the department. We have recommended that the beneficiaries, the traditional authority, should work with the department to develop a tangible plan to make the project work sustainably. Furthermore, the department must assist the beneficiaries to come up with a plan to cap theft and vandalism in this project before any investment could be made to this project. Matsika project. In Matsika project, the government has developed a state-of-the-art Packhouse infrastructure, which is critical for post-harvest handling of banana from farmers in Matsika and surrounding areas. As the Portfolio Committee, we also appreciate that the department managed to rehabilitate the fence, construction of Packhouse, bulk supply pipes, balancing dam, and installation of infield irrigation system on 90 hectares of banana production in functional since they were installed, which meant the produce that will be harvested will not have long shelf life. The issue of the cold rooms and conveyor belt is as a result of poor workmanship, as well as supply chain management and contract management challenges that the department is facing. The department needs to up its game in this regard in order to ensure value for money. Honorable Speaker, we are concerned that the members of the scheme have reported that there was mismanagement of funds, and the project was also robbed of the amount estimated at 32,000 rand in the past. However, we are confident that the project's intervention to introduce a quick pilot at the premises will become helpful, as they will not keep large sums of cash in the premises. The intra-community relations and partnership with the department should improve and is improving and promising to improve. Honorable Speaker, the project participants have requested the government to assist with expanded public works funding for the project workers for a few months until the project is in full production. As the committee will recommended that where possible the department should provide necessary support to this project to realize its dreams of being a national and international exporter, establishing banana juice factory, banana product bakery, and a macadamia project. However, the beneficiaries must work hard to ensure that the government investment yield results and the project should be self-sustainable and avoid relying on government support continuously. We need to ensure that we cover more farmers with the available limited resources. It will be important for the project beneficiaries to encourage their children to work or participate in the project for continuity and generational peace. The project, Honorable Speaker, the project beneficiaries have indicated that they will committed the commitments made by the district municipality on access to all the funds. In this regard, we refer to Vhembe District. We ask the project members to ensure that they obtain the commitments in writing and follow up regularly. It should be noted that bananas are sensitive fruits, and therefore when they are transported in bumpy roads, their quality declines due to this. Furthermore, in various projects that we previously visited by the committee, including the Matsika project, we have noted they have the same common complaints of high cost of electricity. We ask the department to work with communities and other stakeholders to explore alternative energy sources such as solar energy, but proper cost-benefit analysis should be undertaken. Honorable Speaker, Nwanedi Packhouse is a shining example on the implementation of the agri-house. We commend the department, other stakeholders, and farmers for making this project a success. The portfolio committee has witnessed that farmers in the areas are producing, and the products are being packaged and shipped to different destination markets, and the farmers receive their income from the Packhouse. The project has proper governance structures with the board that is comprised of various stakeholders, including the farmers. We ask the department to replicate and adapt this model to other farming communities who are in need. The portfolio committee appreciates that the farmers recognize the fact that the project has been well supported, though some still expect more. The board chairperson has assured the portfolio committee that the farmers will ensure that the Packhouse is self-sustainable. They further plan to have a processing plant on-site to limit losses and diversify products, and this commitment is welcome and supported. Nevertheless, like in many other projects, the farmers have reported high cost of electricity as a serious challenge. In addressing the challenge, energy-efficient pumps have been installed while engagement are still taking place to ensure they install prepaid electricity or even utilize renewable energy. The department and the farmers have requested the National Council of Provinces select committee with the issue of prepaid electricity. The other challenge in the area is that of theft of produce and utilization of farms by gangs to hide illicit products in farms, particularly those that are being illegally transported to Zimbabwe. This leaves the farmers and the department to work with surrounding communities and law enforcement agencies to ensure safety and security in the farms. Honorable Speaker, some of the farmers who are playing a key role in the Nwanedi area include the Matsika brothers, whose farm was also visited. The farm continues to produce quality agricultural products and supply crops to different markets, including through the Nwanedi Packhouse. We have seen that the two brothers have taken the baton from their late father, Dr. who is a renowned farmer in the province. And this is also a key lesson to other farmers to ensure skills transfer to the youth. The portfolio committee was impressed with the good working and commitment relationship and commitment by the Sani brothers. It was interesting to hear how a farm run by young black people can become self-sustainable and make millions of returns. The department must continue to encourage the Sani brothers and other farmers in the area to expand and to help in mentoring willing and aspiring students and young farmers. Honorable Speaker, food and mouth disease has continued to affect the red meat economy at the province and country. As we speak, there is currently an additional ban on the movement of animals due to this problem. Our province has continuously been affected by the FMD, and the department continues to fight the problem. It is against this background that the portfolio committee visited some affected areas such as Matiani village Redline zone, as well as the dipping tanks which experienced the FMD outbreak in February 2020. Honorable Speaker and members, the Matiani village in Collage Municipality has proven to be the epicenter of the outbreak of FMD in the province. This is worsened by the fact that the livestock in the area is in constant contact with the buffaloes from the Kruger National Park since the Sunflex fence dividing Matiani is damaged. While some of the fences are damaged by the animals like elephants, there is also damage caused by residents who are either poaching wild animals or creating access for the livestock to drink water within the Kruger National Park, as they believe some part of the land is theirs. This is also a safety concern for the Matiani residents, since the wild animals such as elephants, lions, wolves, buffaloes, and others, rajas, can easily come to the village and attack people and their livestock. Honorable Speaker, while we appreciate the awareness and vaccination campaigns made by the department in the affected provinces Chavani, Kiari, Tunamela, and Matsika municipalities, however, we believe that there should be a multi-stakeholder engagement and interventions by the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, Limpopo Economic Development, Environment and Tourism, South African National Parks, Department of Public Works and Roads and Infrastructure, municipalities and traditional leaders, communities to address the prevention and control of FMD outbreak. We urge some parks to ensure that the fences are maintained and guarded by rangers who will not be gullible to illegal collaboration with poachers. There should be continuous awareness campaigns to surrounding communities to make them understand the dangers and bad economic impact brought by cutting Kruger National Park fence. In our visit to the Lambani Redline control gate, we were displeased because the control gate was left open without any monitoring or search for transportation of livestock and no access control of the vehicle and human movements. Furthermore, we noticed that the fence which marks the red line is not there, and the infrastructure for accommodation of officials is not appropriate. There is also challenge of lack of capacity to monitor the red line area, and the available staff did not have much to do while they are trained. And of course, in conclusion, Honorable Speaker, although Lambani Redline gate was meant to be food and mouth disease control plan in terms of Act 25 of 1984 of the Animal Disease Act, this challenge is meant that this law was not enforced in this area. As a result, proven hooded animals, meat and products were moved in and out of the area operational and be regularly. There should be awareness campaigns to the traditional leaders and surrounding communities to minimize the marginalization of the country. If new organizational structure, the department will ensure that there is adequate capacity and suitable professionals recruited to prevent and control the spread of the FMD, and we appreciate the fact that the budget in the veterinary services program has been increased in 2022-2023. Deep in thanks, just thank you very much.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to respond and comment on issues raised by members of the Portfolio Committee after the Oversight visit. As a political head, I am impressed by the role being played by the committee as they continue doing the oversight. On the project that had visited the Dovheni agricultural scheme, as a department we are also concerned that the scheme has collapsed. However, the challenges of the community structure in managing is being addressed by the officials from the department. We shall try by all means to make that the project is up and running. Madzivhandila Agricultural College. Honorable Speaker, we have noted the bad state of the affairs of the college. Although we are in the process of migrating to the national department, we have already advertised some positions. Matsika Banana Project. Honorable Speaker, our task is to liaise with the district municipality to construct the access road. The electricity charges are too high, hence we have started assisting them to look at other sources. Matiani village foot and mouth disease outbreak. Honorable Speaker, the challenges of the fence have been referred to the dead. We are also concerned about the relationship between Sun Park and the community and the need for intervention. Muhuyu Shakadza dipping tanks. Honorable Speaker, let me assure this House that we have already started constructing new dipping tanks which will meet the new standard. Lambani Redline gate. Honorable Speaker, with the assistance of the National Department, we have arranged farmers information day so as to make communities to be aware. And one of the information day will be starting from Friday. Nwanedi Packhouse. Honorable Speaker, as a department, we are happy that this is our shining star as confirmed by the Portfolio Committee. However, we have started encouraging farmers to look into other forms of the source of energy. Honorable Speaker, once more, I need to appreciate the role played by the Oversight Committee, and we shall at all times provide them with the report. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm here to support the move expressed by Honorable Nga. Thank you.
Thanks again, Honorable Madam Speaker. I rise again as Palaza Data to present a report on the Standing Committee on Public Participation in Petition on Oversight visit to Petition projects in Vhembe District on the 16th of February 2020. So moved, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Isabella.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the tabling of the committee report as put by Honorable Aldan and Palasa Filmonda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Committee Chair, Honorable Ndaka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, once more. I, Palaza Filmonda, hereby present the report of the Standing Committee on Public Participation in Petitions on Oversight visit to the project in the Limpopo District on the 22nd of February 2022 for consideration by this August House. I so move in a moment.
Thank you very much. Isabella. Honorable Slande.
Honorable Speaker, thanks very much. I stand here to second Honorable Falazan on the oversight report for the oversight visit to the Limpopo District. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's now refer to the speakers list. The first speaker on the list is Honorable Muhuyu, the Chief of the Majority.
Petitions are one tool which can strengthen this relationship and support the consolidation of our government. Honorable Speaker, Section 70 of the Constitution creates the right for everyone to present petitions, while Sections 56, 96, and 115 provide for the receipt of petitions by provincial legislature. Our Limpopo Petitions Act was passed to provide for the right to submit a petition. They set up the procedure to be followed and regulate the functions of the relevant committees, which are responsible for considering petitions. In response to the Petitions Act, the Standing Committee on Petitions abandoned a 2-day oversight visit to Vhembe and Damani. On behalf of the committee, the chairperson, Honorable Ndaga, I would want to intervene debating the oversight visit. On 15 February 2022, the Standing Committee began the visitors shared here with Muhuyu. The committee received a petition which had one regarding the abandoned and affiliated schools. The committee observed that the school had a block of 5 dilapidated classrooms and 2 offices that were built in 1958 and were posing danger to the land. During the visit, the committee also learned that in 2018, the school roof was blown away by the wind. In their response, the Department of Education recommended that the school will be provided with basic services, which is water, sanitation, fencing, in 2022-2023 financial year through food assistance before the end of February 2022. The department further recommended that the mobile classrooms will be provided to the school before the end of March 2022. The Department of Education added that the mobile classrooms will be temporarily provided until the math classrooms are replaced with a proper structure during the 2023-2024.
The Lord petitions with the call
committee and yet nothing happens. People put all their hopes on the legislature, that they will get in court when their rights are being violated, but those in departments and municipalities who are supposed to implement committee resolution continue to fail them. These rights in the main include service delivery rights, violations by the current government. The constitutional rights of our people are being infringed upon on a daily basis. The oversight visit in petitions appear before public participation committee with petitioners make commitment, but once they leave the committee, nothing happens. These departments appear before the committee for the sake of appearing. They do not take service delivery issues of our people serious. They continue to conduct themselves in this way, but nothing happens to departments that do not implement commitments and resolutions of the committee. The Department of Public Works has not held any meeting with the committee as agreed. The same with Dovheni community, which submitted a petition seeking the intervention of the committee on the bad condition of Road D3687. The matter of Mr. Pal regarding a complaint that he lodged on 2019 to the Municipality, alleging that his neighbor has extended a stand alongside his yard. Therefore, blocking his gate is not yet resolved to date. Honorable Speaker, these are just few examples demonstrating the arrogance of government towards citizens, in particular the poor. They appear before the legislature committee, make commitments that they will resolve the challenges of our people, only to disappear for good. Convening meetings for both petitioners and department or even municipality is logistically taxing, which excites amount to nothing because of lack of implementation. Lack of implementation also means that the Committee on Public Participation and Petitions and its chairpersons are being undermined and disrespected. There should be consequence management for any department or municipality for undermining the work of the committee. It is clear that they have been getting away with them for a long time without any consequence management. Government departments and municipalities are not beyond reproach. They must be held accountable for failing citizens. Only the heartless government abandons its people when they cry for service delivery. A caring state would respond appropriately to the developmental needs of its citizens. Our people need a developmental, people-oriented state which will be quick to respond to their service delivery challenges, not this mediocrity we observe. The ANC government is a scam, but based on mediocrity, governance lacking in substance and impetus. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Madam. Honorable Maharaj.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, the Public Participation and Petitions Committee conducted oversight to petitions projects in Vhembe District on the 15th of February 2022, in Mopani on the 16th of February 2022, and in Shakadza District on the 22nd of February 2022. These oversights are conducted in terms of sections 1181A and BI of the Constitution of South Africa, which empowers provincial legislatures to facilitate public involvement in the legislative and other processes of the legislature and its committees. In addition to this, the Limpopo Legislature, the Limpopo Petitions Act 4, 2003, vests the Standing Committee on Public Participation and Petitions with the responsibility to consider petitions that have been referred to the legislature. Honourable Speaker, the petition received from Chiludulu Primary School in January 2019 regarding the dilapidated mud school structures, which comprise of the 5 dilapidated classrooms and the 2 offices, which were built in 1958, will remain open until the promises by the Department of Education, as advised by Mr. Yatsi, that the school will be provided with the basic services of water, sanitation, and fencing in the 2022-2023 financial year via the Bula Trust are met. The department further committed to delivering mobile classrooms as a temporary means until the mud classrooms and structures are replaced with a proper structure in the 2023-2024 financial year. The petition received from the Chindulu Royal Council regarding the bad condition of the D5000 road and streets in and around the area was adjudicated on the 20th of February 2018, and the resolution was that the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure meet with members of the community to discuss and agree on the way forward. Regrettably, this meeting never occurred, and a further adjudication could not be concluded due to the department's unavailability on the day. Similarly, the petition by the Dovheni community on the road D3687 as the main access road to Dovheni village could not be adjudicated due to the department's unavailability, and as such the petition remains open. Honourable Speaker, the committee's recommendations on the oversight for the 15th of February 2022 was that the Department of Education prioritise the provision of water and sanitation and eradicate all mud structures in the schools. It further recommended that the department pay regular visits to schools to pick up on the challenges and address these promptly. The committee further recommended that the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure must work with the municipalities in ensuring that roads and streets within communities are properly maintained. The petition of Mr. M.A. Pala and the Ellis Matsoleli local municipality was still not concluded, and the committee recommended that the municipality must respond to the petitions or the petitioner's concern and should revisit the petition and ensure that there is a speedy resolution or conclusion to the matter. The committee further recommended that the municipality should work with both parties in restoring peace between Mr. Pala and Ms. Nwanedi. A follow-up meeting will be scheduled to adjudicate on this matter. Post the committee conducting an on-site local inspection to assess the situation firsthand. In the interim, the municipality was given a task to investigate the matter further and to come up with an action plan on how they would address the matter within 21 working days. In conclusion, the petitioners for the Ward 7 petition on the Lambani Road project D4280 and D4283 indicated that they were cautiously satisfied with progress being made on the project thus far. However, they appealed that the committee play a monitoring role to ensure that the project runs smoothly and until conclusion of the project. The committee appreciated the progress made on the project and resolved that an action plan of the project should be tabled with the committee. The committee recommended that the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure maintain the road regularly. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, Honourable Data.
Thank you, Honourable Madam Speaker, to the Honourable Premier in absentia, Honourable members of the executive present, Honourable Chief Whip and the Deputy Chief Whip, Honourable Chair of Chairs and Deputy Chair of Chairs, and all Honourable members. I greet you all this afternoon in the name of the African National Congress. As outlined in the report tabled herein, and also alluded to by the previous speakers, the Standing Polokwane to meet with petitioners. Responsible departments were also invited to be part of such visits. However, only one of the two departments invited managed to send regrets. Responding to the call by the Freedom Charter that the people shall govern, the question of the land in Article 118 prescribed that the provincial legislature must find ways to involve the public in its affairs, including on the work of its community. Furthermore, the Limpopo Petition Act No. 4 of 2003 has extended the mandates of the legislature as outlined in Section 115 of the Constitution to the Standing Committee on Public Participation in Petitions. In terms of this act, the committee can summon any person to appear before it, give evidence under oath of affirmation, and produce any document to support such evidence. Included therein are the powers to subpoena any person to appear before it, further of which can lead to prosecution. Since its inception, in this term, the committee has never fleshed its muscles in line with this legislation provided, but resulted in persuasion for the department to comply. Unfortunately, this co-litigation is being abused by departments across the board. So much as our department do attend our meetings, there is no consistency. Sometimes senior officials with no decision-making powers are sent to the meetings of the Standing Committee. Sometimes with reports, sometimes with no reports at all. This is a serious matter of concern to the committee. Honorable Madam Speaker, we are raising this matter here so that the MECs and HODs should not say that they will not forward if we result in implementing the legislation as is. I repeat, Madam Speaker, we are raising this matter here so that MECs and HODs should not say they will not forward if we result in implementing the legislation as is. The case in point is where only the Department of Education attended the Washington meeting and no one from the Department of Public Works. We are aware that sometimes you attend other meetings. And we are aware that wherever we go, sometimes we meet you when we meet with stakeholders. But we're not going to say things differently. We report them as they are because we are accountable to the communities out there. So we're expecting on that day and no one pushed out. We had to postpone the application of roads and infrastructure petitions from Shendeul regarding road D5000 and Sieni village concerning road D2687. However, the community insisted that we drive on those roads, in particular the Sieni village, to see for ourselves how bad the conditions of the road is. Indeed, we were even stuck for a while inside the village, but we go out as we were following each other because the road was very bad and it was a mountainous area. It was really very scary, but at least we managed to come out of that area. Given the fact that this petition was received by the legislature in 2018 and that the decision was taken as said by the other members of the committee for the department to meet with the community of those areas, it is not clear why no such meeting took place between the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure and this community today. We were in Damani last Friday, Honorable Madam Speaker, in another CAPS, again interacting with communities. As Honorable Collage said, we are aldermen. We have been with communities for many years. We have been working hand in glove with councillors for many years. And we are always on the ground. We've been in Mune more than 5-6 times already this year. And also then we've been there several times. So each time the very communities meet with us, they raise the same question. And one councillor actually raised an issue concerning the Sieni village road D3687. That means that even today, unless we are proven otherwise, that meeting has never taken place. even the Department of Education, which at least sent representatives to the meeting, never did anything on responding to the need for additional classrooms in the form of supplying mobile classrooms since 2019. To a school that was built 2 years before I was born. It's cracked, and young children are attending there. It's like it can fall over them anytime. It's very scary. So we need to do something about that. However, the department had promised that mobile classrooms were going to be delivered by the end of March, as stated by the Honorable Chief. We just believe that has happened. At least this was good news. But again, we are not sure as to whether it happened or not, as we did not receive any further information regarding the mobile classroom for the primary school. The school that was built in 1958 is still like that. In a sacred place, it's a sacred village, Chenyehulu, the Benda Kings, that's where they were staying before. It's an area that we indeed supposed to do something about in terms of development. Because that's where the Benda people in Vhembe will stay before they move to other areas. But it's like we have neglected those communities. Honorable Speaker, the visit to Mopani brought some work on the work of the committee, that at least something is being done. Of course, it's not doom and gloom. There is government to do so. We are aware of the needs of our people that there's been a very serious backlog until the AC took over this government. Schools were built by communities themselves. Some of us standing here were to go out and look for sand to build our own schools. We had to do everything ourselves as young children. We had to crash stones to get concrete, to make sure that there's a school in your own village. We had to walk long distances for more than 10 km to a primary school, and came across a lot of apparent issues on the way coming back from such a long distance from school. That's why some of us at the school at a very, very, very adult age, grade R, the so-called grade R, we started at the age of 9, and again in June, because that's when we'll be able to go to school in June, and we find out the others have already been doing something. So we are aware, Honorable Madam Speaker and the NEC, that we're from a long way back in terms of addressing the needs of our people. So it's not that nothing is being done, but it's just that there's a lot for us to do. And if you move around, you will indeed see beautiful schools that are being built. But others also need those beautiful schools, including the communities in Mopane, where we went, and also in Chenyehulu. We commend the department for specifically responding to the need for additional classrooms, but of course, by just applying the temporary structures, at least the communities believe that the classes are coming. We are also aware that the school might be merged with another school. So that means then you also need the department to plan ahead and not just that great structure that we have seen in other areas recently again, as we move in doing our oversight, where only 114 kids are in a school, but then structures are being built, the admin block is being built, so who is going to fill those classes? So we need indeed to deal with some of this proper planning before we embark on a particular school. In that school that we visited, which will still come here as well, only 16 matric students are there. Already you are aware that even the pass rate is not going to go back. If you ask how, when we ask, because we ask all the questions, when you ask, last year it was only 33% pass rate in the school, but other classes, good, beautiful classes are being built right now, additional classes, and the old structure is also being renovated. So please, Honorable NEC, there should be proper planning, and not just to respond for the sake of responding sometimes. wanted to bring the complicated petition of Mr. Pala N.A. and not the Honorable Pala that is in our gathering. It's another Mr. Pala N.A. Who complained that his neighbor built a garage that blocked him from accessing his house. It's 1050 and 351 in Polokwane Township, where both of them, unfortunately, are encroaching on the municipal land building structures in the street. So as we are receiving the report, Mr. Pala also erected a septic tank in the street, and the other one extended their house, built a garage in the street, and broke in the street. So it is a matter that the municipality must deal with to resolve on these two neighbors. It is indeed a serious matter. We care about people. We want our people to live happily, and it is indeed also can be said that it's a little bit disadvantage about it because the street has been blocked. Our street should be accessible by everyone. And then if the streets are not accessible, there is indeed a problem. The municipality was eventually one there to deal with the matter, and we've taken a resolution to follow up on this, Honorable Madam Speaker, to make sure that there's good neighborly relationship within the two neighbors in Polokwane Township. Honorable Madam Speaker, as I move towards conclusion, I would like to thank the members of the committee for being dedicated to their work, including the opposition this time around. Honorable Maharaj is always available, and Honorable Managa, who is not here today, is always available. Whenever we go to do our opposite work, they are there. Honorable Chief Whip is always available. Honorable Kekana Sibanda is always available. Honorable Silamele is always available. The Deputy Chair of Chairs, who I regard as the Chair of Chairs, unfortunately, when we are in those meetings, is always available. And we really appreciate it because we won't be able to deal with the work if you are not available. So thank you to the political parties in the African National Congress for giving leadership and making sure that we are available when our people need us, and that we are able at least to create some hope that something is being done. Because by talking to them, they believe that something indeed at the end of the day will be done. The department, thank you, in areas where you are available. Where you are not coming, we are going to that. And from now henceforth, we are going to implement the legislation as we are not going to wear a standing committee. Well, we don't need to get any permission from anyone to do our work. So if you are not available to do anything, we are going to act on your members so that they can feel, the mighty of our committee. I thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker, and thanks for this opportunity. I believe that indeed, doing what was me, our people at the end of the day will realize that they were doing something for them. Okay, sir.
My colleagues in the executive, the chair of chairs and the deputy chair of chair, the chairperson of the petition committee, and all the members, the chairperson of the education committee, and all the members and members of this house, let me greet you this afternoon. Honorable Speaker, we want to confirm as the Department of Education that after the visits to the different places. We want to respond to the petitions that were the visits to Vhembe, Lambani, Sukuni. But let me also indicate, Madam Speaker, that we have since tried to rectify, to say our parliamentary officer should be the link between the committee and us, and the parliamentary officer will be responsible to make sure that the delegated officials who are not just junior but who are dealing with the issues that the team or the petition committee is going to be attending would have to be attending those meetings. And I'm sure in the other meetings they might have felt that the representation was a bit low. The second issue is that amongst the visits there is a critical school that all the members of the petition committee was talking about, which is the Chelo school. We have since allocated the IDT for that school, Honorable Chair of the petition committee and the members, and we will then submit the advert to the committee. Honorable Speaker, the committee visited different sites, so I'm going to summarize in this way. Our plan as the department is that we want to present to the House that the infrastructure, some of the projects are multi-year, but we have since finalized our plans and we have allocated the following implementing agencies to be the ones that will assist us on the infrastructure and especially also on the sanitation that you will see on this document. We have since finalized our agreement with Mvula Trust, which currently, as I speak, the Mvula Trust is on advert for the infrastructure of building of schools, and also they've just released the advert on the fencing of the schools, which the list will be supplied. We also have finalized our agreement with the IDT, like I've already indicated that already there are schools that have been allocated to IDT. We have also finalized our MOU with the DBSA, and I can confirm that with the IDT and the DBSA, as an office myself, I've sat with the officials and we have spoken, and like I indicated in the other forum, Honorable Speaker, that the clause of where they are not performing has been effected on our MOUs. We have since also submitted plans which are at an advanced stage with the public works, who's also the implementing agent for our infrastructure. And also internally, the Department of Education have got the infrastructure department, which also part of what we have done collectively as a department and all the implementing agent has been to resolve through the assistance of the Treasury, has been to resolve that we advertise for panels so that then when we need an emergency or to build schools, we can be able to go to the panel. And inclusive of the Department of Education, we have all advertised for panels for 3 years, which we should not come back to this house and say our adverts are taking long. So just to say that is the plan that we have. And also we have taken note of the mobile classrooms that have not arrived at the school. Part of what we have done for us now, as we plan to make sure that our children have got sitting areas for the exams in October and November before they close their schools, is to come up with a list where we are verifying the merging of schools and also the infrastructure list vis-a-vis the mobile classrooms that needs to be taken on board. And Honorable Speaker, as we responded to the committee, we have since on the report that have been submitted attached Annexure A up to Annexure H, which then explains and gives reasons. And among those, there are 2 or 3 petitions that have been closed by ourselves and the committee. And I think I need to also indicate that on the plans for the merging of schools, as the chairperson of the petition has raised, for this year we have not signed the schools that have to be merged because one, we are checking which school are we taking the children, do we still need to take in infrastructure, or do we also need to be able to evaluate because the merging of schools talks to infrastructure and also the issues of scholar transport. Honorable Speaker, as I close, I want to also say to the House, we have started our process as a department to be meeting with the district directors, the circuit managers, and the principals, where we will be reflecting on the past rate. Like the Honorable Chair of the committee indicated, you will have a principal that does not even raise a finger to bring cleanliness in the yard of the school with proper infrastructure, not passing. And they want to say because the department is not cleaning the yard, is not doing that, and the infrastructure is dilapidating. So in our meetings with the principals, we are going to be very clear. I started this morning to say, where a principal does not even raise a finger to deal with the issues that they have been employed for, next year we'll be talking consequence management, because those are the issues that are making our infrastructure to continue to dilapidate. When they have got buildings, they don't take care of them, and as a department, we are supposed to move to other areas where there are no buildings. So those are the issues, Honorable Chair of the Petition and the members of the House, that we will be looking at to just assist us to deal with the issues of the budget. So those are the response. We have submitted Annexure A to Annexure H, and on the other schools there is Annexure J and I that we have also submitted to the committee for the committee to be able to note the progress that we have done with our implementing agents. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, members of the State Council, the chief of the ruling party, the Petitions, leaders of the opposition parties, chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Participation in Petitions, honorable members, greetings to you all. Let me take this opportunity and appreciate the opportunity to be presented to me by this August House to respond to the remarks and comments made by fellow honorable members in this House. The work of the Standing Committee on Public Participation and Public Participation Petitions is a true test of democracy, and to the extent to which the legislature can ensure that government remains answerable to the people. This is done by maintaining constant oversight of government actions. In relation to the Department of Public Works, Road and Infrastructure, we have seen the committee conducting oversight visits in the affected district where 24 petitioners raised concerns mainly on the level of provision of road infrastructure. Having listened to honorable members who took to the podium before me and spoke about this matter, we all agree that although there are positive strides that have been made by the NCF government in the infrastructure development, particularly providing improved road networks, there is still more that needs to be done. The province road network consists of about 21,000 kilometers, and of this total number of 6,263 that is paid for TAP. This then means that we have a backlog of 13,800 kilometers. Some of the communities and organizations that have petitions the department are also affected by the backlog, as I already argued. Road agency in Limpopo require 130 billion to upgrade 13,800 kilometers of road. As the Ministry for Public Works, Road and Infrastructure, I fully understand and acknowledge that it is constitutional right of every citizen to raise service delivery consent as enshrined in the Constitution, which gives the right to everyone to present petitions to the provincial district. The petitions clearly articulated the nature of the complaint and prescribe the intervention or assistance sought. Let me, Chairperson, also take note of the unavailability of the department in various petitions hearings as argued by the Chairperson, and we are committing to improve on that aspect. Allow me to give a brief update on some of the grey areas of service delivery that are receiving the full attention of the department and through our entity lab. These are matters that relate to service delivery which concerns the department and rather well. Without necessarily mentioning the 24 petitions whose roads are in their state and needs the department's immediate intervention, there's a total number of 197 kilometers that need to be tarred
as indicated in the report. In order for this to be realized, RAL needs at least 1.9 billion rand to do the road upgrade. The painful truth is that this current financial year, we are able to commit in this house that we will be able to upgrade all these roads due to Veritas. We also want to indicate that as a temporary measure, we intend to have some of these roads bladed to enable easy access. The other challenge is that most of our yellow fleet that are supposed to be grading the roads have aged and they experience constant breakdowns. But I think I must also indicate that we are having some discussions with provincial treasury. They are definitely going to assist us to make sure that we acquire yellow fleet for all our centers, although we'll do it in unjust period. Before I descend the podium, I also want to take this opportunity to update the House that it is work in progress with Operation Dovheni, which has been launched and is well underway in all 5 of our districts in the province. This program is targeting 180,000 square meters of potholes to be fixed, and RAL is also on board rehabilitating roads that have been depleted or that have finished their lifespan. This is also an indication that we have a listening government which responds to the outcry of motorists and road users in general. I think what the listening here, Honorable Maharaj, can I do with you? Thank you so much. He's noted. Thank you.
Section 61, subsection 4 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, right together with our Rule 226 sub-rule of the Statement Rules and Orders of the House provide for the designation and appointment of special delegates, as required from time to time. In line with this provision, the House resolved to appoint the following honorable members to attendance from the marriage forum. 8 September 2020, debate on the restoration and modernization of rail infrastructure in South Africa. Honorable M.R. Soromo, Honorable M.M. Lachanyani, Honorable C.P. Zilani. 15 September 2022, debate on local government week. Honorable K.M. Levia, Honorable F.P. Dai, Honorable F.J. Maseko. Honorable Speaker, I hereby move that this August House is not to ratify the appointments of the above changes of the beginning of the above mentioned commission. I move according to our motion.
Thank you, any someone? Any someone that announces members? No notification. I am not going to stand for second motion as presented by the chief. Thank you very much. Item 9, draft resolution on the
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hereby move that when this House arises today, it will sit again on Tuesday, 4th October 2022 at 10 hours. As the House will not recess. I move according to Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Item 10, any announcements?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members,
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The first announcement is that from today the House will rise to give opportunity to committees to go and do their work so that they can, when the reports come back, the House can be able to process it. Now, the first week from the 12th to the 16th of September will be a full recess for the House and the committees. The week from the 19th to the 23rd September is dedicated to committees to generate their work. And from the third week, from 26th to 30th, is dedicated to, we have organized a training for members, training workshop for members of the provincial legislature, which means it includes action members. And that workshop is per request, and we're obliged. The workshop will be focusing on several areas. One of the areas will be the rules, because it seems to be members who feel that we need to review the rules. We want to give an opportunity to each and every member here that if there are any areas that we feel we need to improve in the rules, please submit it. We have said they should be submitted through the whips of various political parties. And if members feel that there are areas that needs to be improved, that workshop will be dealing with the rules and also areas that members feel that we should improve. There's going to be other elements of the workshop, which includes public speaking, and also areas that were left unattended when we were in Karibu last time. Having said that, lunch is served in the committee body. Thank you very much.
The House is adjourned as at the indicated Tuesday, 4th October. It is the local legislature. Thank you very much.
The Honorable the Speaker.